We tend to treat political evil as a defect of human nature, a glitch in the system. But history suggests the opposite. Extreme cruelty functions as a highly evolved mechanism designed to secure absolute victory. This tactical map shows a famous military strategy from ancient China. A general would intentionally position his army with a massive, uncrossable river directly behind them. They deliberately pinned their own soldiers against the water. The logic is entirely psychological. By physically removing the option to retreat, the soldiers have to fight to the death. The sheer panic of having no escape route forces them to unify, transforming a scattered militia into an immovable force that can shatter an advancing enemy. Now, apply that military tactic to the architecture of political power. Imagine a group of leaders seeking total control, but instead of a physical river, they use an unforgivable taboo. This creates what is known as transgressive cohesion. Transgressive cohesion is the intense psychological bond formed when a group collectively commits an act that society deems absolutely unforgivable. By sharing the guilt of a heinous crime, the inner circle locks itself together. They burn their boats. Because the outside world would never pardon them, they can never surrender or return to normal society. That shared guilt forges an impenetrable core of power. But a tightly bound inner circle is still small. To maintain a state, they have to project that control outward onto millions of people. To see how this machinery of control is built, we look back to the political landscape of the Renaissance. In the early 16th century, Niccolò Machiavelli outlined the concept of raison d'etat, or reason of state. This is the principle that a ruler must operate completely outside traditional moral boundaries to guarantee the survival of their regime. Machiavelli pointed to the Sons of Brutus protocol. When a new regime first takes power, it must execute its enemies in a highly public, spectacular fashion to instill deep fear and lock down its authority. In this framework, calculated brutality functions as a mathematical technology, a precise instrument applied to a population to guarantee stability and preempt anarchy. Jump forward to the 20th century, and this architecture of oppression scaled up. It moved from targeted royal assassinations to the industrial scale of total domination. Political philosopher Hannah Arendt studied these totalitarian regimes closely. She identified that maintaining these vast power structures depends on an engine far more invasive than physical terror. The fuel for this system was pervasive loneliness. Regimes deliberately engineered isolation by breaking down community bonds, ensuring that citizens had no one left to trust. While elite transgression consolidates power at the top, it is the destruction of the social fabric at the bottom that secures it. An isolated population is physically incapable of organizing a resistance. But we have to test this premise. Does modern systemic oppression require a shadowy, unified elite pulling the levers of a master plan? Take the case of Adolf Eichmann. He helped orchestrate the Holocaust not out of a monstrous, fanatical ideology, but out of a terrifyingly ordinary desire to execute his desk job efficiently. Arendt coined the term the banality of evil to describe this. The banality of evil occurs when extreme atrocities become normalized because ordinary people stop evaluating their actions and simply follow administrative orders. The French philosopher Michel Foucault pushed this idea further. He argued that modern power has evolved past the need for a violent central dictator. Instead, it operates as a diffuse, invisible network of rules. This text highlights Foucault's model of the panopticon. The panopticon is a theoretical system of constant surveillance, where citizens eventually internalize the rules, policing themselves without any physical guards present. The ultimate victory for an oppressive state happens when it no longer needs a master plan. The system thrives because the people within it volunteer to be their own wardens. These two realities define the modern landscape. Elites secure their positions through cohesive, self-serving actions, while the public is managed through isolation and self-surveillance. We experience this today through algorithmic governance. Opaque digital systems quietly dictate access to housing, credit, and employment, systematically advantaging the wealthy while marginalizing the vulnerable. The modern elite forges its cohesion through a different kind of transgression, the systematic dismantling of human dignity and community bonds in exchange for infinite material accumulation. We struggle to dismantle this architecture because our environment actively prevents it. We are kept isolated, distracted by screens, and constantly observed, making it nearly impossible to build our own cohesive resistance. The machinery of political evil achieves its ultimate form when we can no longer distinguish ourselves from the systems that contain us. It grinds forward precisely because we have become the very components that sustain its motion.